This is an ABP Live Podcast.
Rain, rain, go away. Come again another day. But if you come, please don't bring plastics on the way. Now that's a rhyme, huh? Now, truth be spoken, I'm not a fan of rain at all. Yes, I don't like rain for many reasons. I know most of you, all of you, love the rains. You people love romanticizing the rains. I don't know why. I've known people who think rain is synonymous for fritters and playing songs on guitar. It was an absolute nightmare having these kind of roommates. I mean, buddy, why do you need pakoras every time it rains? And what makes you take out your guitar, huh? What's with the romanticization of rains? Now, you guys might be thinking, how can I not love rains? Why am I giving such an unnecessary monologue on rain? Well, wait till you hear this, ladies and gentlemen. It's raining plastic. Yes, you heard that right. Particles of plastic are raining from the atmosphere. Do you rain romanticizers even know that small, minute particles of plastics are raining from the sky every day, but it's invisible to the naked eye? This makes me hate the rains even more. Now who's shocked, huh? How do you like the rains now? Come on, bring out your pakoras. Enjoy them with a beautiful rain of plastic. I guess you guys are shell-shocked right now. Man, I'm bringing a lot of shocking news these days. Chinese making super soldiers, plastic rain. Well, that's what Clear Cut's all about. But I'm sure you guys are wondering now, what is this plastic rain? How will this plastic rain affect us? And is this seriously happening? Don't worry, I'll decode all of this today. So welcome to Clear Cut, only on ABP Live Podcast. This is your newsman Rudrashish, and today, let's talk about plastic rain. So let's get started. Listen up, rain lovers. According to a study published in the Environmental Science and Technology journal, almost 74 metric tons of microplastic fell from the air in New Zealand in 2020, which is equal to 3 million plastic bottles. Can you imagine 3 million plastic bottles falling from the sky? But what exactly is this plastic rain? So basically, plastic rain are microplastic, which is less than 5 millimeters in size, and when it rains from the sky is classified as plastic rain. These microplastic comes from clothes, vehicles, packaging, tires, paint, just to name a few. Now, according to an article published in Wired, plastic rain could prove to be more insidious problem than acid rain, which is a consequence of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide emissions. The article also says that these microplastic are flowing into the ocean and damaging the deep sea ecosystem, and they're even ejecting out of the water and blowing onto land in sea breezes. Now, according to a recent research done by the researchers at University of Auckland, some shocking facts have come out. The researchers from the University of Auckland used a color dye that emits light under certain conditions and a heat interaction to identify the microplastics because they are invisible to the naked eye. The study was carried out over 9 weeks. Practically with every breath, we are inhaling the small microplastics. During the study, researchers from the University of Auckland found out that on an average, almost 5,000 pieces of microplastic fell on almost every urban rooftop in Auckland. During days when there were strong winds, even more particles of microplastic was observed settling on the rooftops. But now the question is, how will it impact our health? Now, according to Science Alert, research suggests microplastic are even circulating in a respiratory system, albeit with unknown health effects. According to Plastic Health Coalition, researchers have hypothesized that human exposure to microplastics could lead to oxidative stress, DNA damage, and inflammation, among other health problems. Particularly when inflammation becomes chronic, this can pave the way to very serious health problems. However, it's not only the plastic particles themselves that are potentially harmful. The surface of microplastics in the environment are colonized by microorganisms, some of which have been identified as human pathogens. Moreover, plastic does not biodegrade and can consequently travel long distance in the aquatic environment. So, we have to ask ourselves, does plastic litter contribute to the spread of pathogens, particularly in the areas with poor sanitation facilities and high plastic pollution? It is hypothesized that plastic could be contributing to the spread of diseases. However, I should tell you that the current available data of plastic rain's effect on human health is still not very clear. We will be needing more analytical models to study this more precisely. Now, to speak further on this, we have Dr. Sunil Pandey, Director of Environment and Waste Management from the Energy and Resources Institute, joining us on the show today. So, welcome to Clear Cut, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, sir, recent studies have suggested that plastic rain is actually a real thing, and we humans inhale thousands of microplastic every day. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, observation is correct. In fact, the plastic waste, when it is littered around, undergoes largely photodegradation. And then that photodegradation results into generation of microplastics. And as the size suggests, they are so small that they can't be seen by naked eye, but then they are present almost now everywhere. And so as we inhale smaller dust particles, smaller microplastic particles also are inhaled every day by us as they are present in the environment.
Now, this study has highlighted that the study of plastic rain is still not done to its fullest around the world. The recent research done by the University of Auckland had surprising results. So, do you think a regular study on microplastic and plastic rain should be done in India as well?
Yes, I certainly agree, because in India also, there are various agencies where we are also partnering in the research. We actually have been looking at presence of microplastics in different environments, air environment, water environment, and in the different river systems, especially in Gujarat. And this study is supported by Norwegian embassy here in India.
Okay.
And where we have many other partners as well. STIPET, for example, from Bhubaneswar, SRM University from Chennai, and TERI is also part of it. So we are actually looking at distribution of microplastics, not only larger plastic particles, mesoplastics, but also microplastics. But I agree with your suggestion, a detailed study, because India is a large country and large climatic variations. A detailed study would be required in different parts to basically establish a baseline.
Like in the study done by the University of Auckland, they have reported that New Zealand observed 74 metric ton of microplastic every day in 2020. And comparing the size of New Zealand to India, comparing the population of New Zealand to India, we can expect staggering numbers of microplastic when the numbers comes out, if India does the research as well.
Yeah, I mean, once we do research, certainly we'll get numbers. And it's high time that we also conduct baseline in our own country to look at what is the microplastic situation in India.
Now, inhaling microplastic is something we can't escape, since it's in the air, water, food we eat. But are there any remedies that one should practice to minimize its harmful effect on our health?
See, one is, if you look at from waste management perspective, one is to improve our waste management on ground, to basically minimize the littering of plastics in the open, so that they don't result into generation of microplastics. Second is, the country has already plans to phase out, they have already implemented plans to phase out single-use plastics, which are more vulnerable group basically to generate microplastics. And to find out soon non-plastic alternatives for these plastic packaging material of single-use plastics which have been phased out, so that we stop manufacturing it and stop using it. So these are immediate solutions which can help us achieving this in the long run.
Now, the effect of microplastic on the health and on environment is still not very clear. The study on the effects are still in the nascent stage. So can you give us some insights on this? how harmful can microplastic be to human beings and to the environment?
This actually is still evolving. There is not conclusive evidence as yet by researchers that it is adversely affecting human beings when they inhale it or ingest it. Because several other studies have seen that these microplastics, when inhaled or ingested, they are not retained by kidney in the body. And they are let out in the night soil and the urine which we pass out. Issue is that many of these plastics actually are not simple plastic polymers. There are various additives used in plastic manufacturing. There are various dyes used in plastic manufacturing. In addition, these also might interact with pollutants which are already there in soil or already there in the air. For example, particulate matter, black carbon and all that. So, impact of these, when these are inhaled along with these plastic particles, are not very clear at this stage because it's very early stage in the research on this subject. So, I mean, if these affect us adversely, that needs to be seen. But there are chances that this might, the pollutants which are being inhaled along with microplastics might affect us adversely.
And lastly, sir, do you think this plastic grain, these microplastics, can contribute to climate change in the longer run?
I mean, not directly to climate change, but once you kind of try to burn them, plastic burning or try to basically address them by ineffective waste management, then suddenly it would contribute to climate change.
Okay. Well, sir, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure speaking to you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. So that's all the news and scoops I have for you today. This episode was produced by Lalit. This is your newsman Rudrashish Kanjilal signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead and keep listening to ABP Live Podcasts.
This is an ABP Live Podcast.